Yeah, I thought we started really poor. From the kickoff, probably for the next, whatever, 5, 10 minutes, I just felt like we never settled into the game. The kickoff, the way we went to the kickoff and hit a straight ball just didn't make sense. Yeah, we got to be cleaner and start games cleaner. I thought all of that kind of us not using the ball well, turning it over, not really settling in. We're hitting long balls and doing things that was making the game transitional, opening it up, then again, not really working together defensively to keep things where we were, and they came across us and they got a goal. But I thought it all started from a bit of an erratic start, and things didn't settle in. But from there to the rest of that half, I thought we did a good job of at least just protecting ourselves and managing our way through the first half as we kind of settled into being down a man. And then I thought the second half reaction was really good. I thought guys were connected, made it difficult for them to create too many chances on the attacking side. We protected ourselves. We were down, so we're still trying to find ways that we could initiate enough pressure to get them into areas where we could try to recover balls that we could use in transition. And we get a foul. Diego hits a great free kick. It's actually the first direct free kick that we've scored since I've been here. So good timing, I guess, but that's the first one. So, and then even after that, I thought we were able to break out on a couple of occasions. Obviously, Joe gets one across to Gabe where maybe we have a chance, and one where Mickey gets to the end line. We don't quite get across, but we have some other promising moments. But I'm proud of the guys. This is the fourth game in 2 weeks with some heavy travel in between and a tough loss on Tuesday. And it started off in a way that didn't feel like it was shaping up for us, and the guys found a way to get a good solid earned point. Even though we came here for 3 today, it didn't play out the way we were expecting from the start, and they did a great job of pulling together and taking something out of this game.
What's the frustration level like for you guys? You finally look like you get healthy. You have a pretty strong starting lineup for the first time, I think, probably in a while. Zonka gets the red card. Things start falling apart pretty quickly there. Eventually this stuff has to get fixed, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I think it has to get fixed. And some of this it's tough to fix things just going from game to game because you're trying to solve some things inside of the game. No excuses, just we got to stop putting ourselves in holes and then trying to figure our way out of holes. So, there's no two ways about it. It's got to get cleaned up. It's got to get fixed. And hopefully as we get guys, tonight we try to give Lucas his first start and to settle him into the team a bit. He hasn't played many games, so he's still kind of finding his way and his footing inside of the group. I thought Isaiah came on and gave us a good second half performance, just showing again that he understands systematically some things, even though we're down a man. So I think even though we're getting healthier, there's still guys who haven't played a ton with us, so that are still kind of learning a little bit more about what we're trying to do. So, but yeah, we've got to clean it up. We've got to clean up the putting ourselves in a hole and the not so good starts. Those are the biggest things, because after that, I feel like we find ourselves back into the game and we look all right. So.
Hey, Greg, got a couple for you. First off, when Zonka gets a red card and you've got to react to it, was there any thought to bringing Eric in as a center back and moving something around?
Yeah, there's a thought. There's a couple things that go there. One was I let it ride for a few minutes. One is Eric is not in great physical condition right now. His back is a bit messed up, and so if we had to use him for a short period of time, I felt comfortable with it. If I had to use him for a long period of time, I wasn't super comfortable with it. The second part was let it ride for a little bit just to see how it was going, and Eddie looked like he was comfortable. And the second part to that was Eddie back there gave us, I thought, a lot more capacity to stay and hold the ball. And part of that is because of Eddie's ability to dribble the ball, to move with the ball, it's harder to press a midfielder when he's back in that position who's very comfortable on the ball than sometimes center backs or other players back there. So I felt like with Eddie back there, it gave us a chance to start more attacks, to have a little bit more of the ball and give us maybe a little bit of composure, even though we were down a man. Not to say that Eric couldn't, but Eric isn't going to move around with the ball and carry into new spaces and win some time on the dribble that maybe we could use. So So when I saw that that was pretty settled in on the defensive side, then I was going to play that one for a while because I thought it would help us, to try to create some things and not just end up defending for longer stretches of time.
In that situation, how much do you have stringent ideas of these things have to be taken care of by these people, and how much freedom is there? Because we saw with Mickey, we saw with Diego, we saw that at times they would shift into places where there might be space that needed to be filled. There seemed to be a lot of reading of the game and falling into defensive positions.
Yeah, there's a lot of, we know where the positions are, and the question is, how are you going to fill them, And with one less number, sometimes filling them is a little bit trickier, and so again, you're trying to do that while not exposing yourself, while also making sure you have enough numbers to start an attack, but you're trying to get enough numbers into positions where you can try to finish some attacks, but then not expose yourself in transition. So it became pretty fluid. But I felt like with that group, and especially with Isaiah out there, I felt like there was everybody kind of understood some of the fluidity that needed to maybe take place, even on the defensive side. If guys got pulled out, how we would fill back into some of the spaces to cover each other. And I think that the guys did a good job. They did a good job of, again, dealing with stuff.
And lastly, and this is more of a general question, not so much specific to this game, but in terms of, you've talked a few times in the past month and a half or so about the need to recognize situations, to be at the right speed, to take responsibility in these situations. Are you seeing the advances you want to see there? How much is that still a work in progress?
Yeah, well, I think it's different for different guys, right? Like, some guys, they read things, they anticipate, they pick it up early, and they recognize what needs to be done, and they deal with it. And some guys are a little slower. I think collectively the group is, we're trying to get everybody there. And then you have some guys. Joe didn't go through a preseason. It took him a few games, but I think the last 2 games we see Joe at top speed again. And then you see, guys who are coming into our team that haven't been into our team, like a Lucas, who's going to still need time. And that's why it's not like it's not smooth, And when you put yourself down a man, it becomes even more tricky, and so that's a whole different scenario. But I do think with the way the group the group we brought in the second half, there was some continuity within that group and some recognition of things that needed to be recognized, and they dealt with 11 men and created the chance they got the goal and created a couple other chances, and dealt with some stuff through the course of the game. So we've got to do those types of things with 11 and make sure that we can get on top of the game and not do things that put us behind or put us underneath some things. But I do think, look, my bet here is that as we get healthy and we get some time and a rhythm to train a little bit and get guys integrated back into the group and to the rhythm, and when you look down on the bench and we start to see guys who can come in to also impact the game and really help us, that we can certainly build our way out of this. But we got to also get some guys. We've got 4 guys on the bench who can do a lot of things to help our group too. So there's, we've got to continue to build our way back into this. Well, the good things are Marco was in part of training the other day, so hopefully we can build forward towards that. Hopefully for next week, Mauricio should be ready for next week. I mean, he checked all the boxes coming into today, and just another week of full training will really help him because where he was. Maya's still probably a couple of weeks or so away, but I think in general we're starting to at least see some light at the end of the tunnel, so long as we can keep the group that we have healthy,
Hey, Greg.
Hey.
I'm trying to think of a question Scott hasn't asked yet.
Well, usually you start so that you don't have to.
Yeah, I was late getting down here. It's 1-1, as you 60 minutes, 70 minutes. As you get later in the game, what's going through your mind sub-wise? Are you trying to hold on to it or look for ways to pull the game out, or what are you sort of dealing with there?
A little bit of both. You're trying not to expose yourself in the effort to try to go get the second goal, in my opinion. I think when you've come from behind and you're down a man, a point is a solid result and also good for the locker room and good for the group. But what I saw in the group is they were eager to try to go win the game. And so I didn't want to take that away from them, but I also wanted to make sure that we were mindful of protecting ourselves. I loved that the mentality was, let's go, we feel confident enough to try to go win this thing, and guys were going for it. So I was trying to support that, at the same time make sure that we, you know, we got out of here today with at least one, because that's the, you know, some of the reward for the work that was put in is at least you come away with something at the end of the day. So it was trying to find a balance inside of those things, you know, and the 10 guys that were going in the second half, I thought had really good control of it. So I was not necessarily super eager to make substitutions, but I did feel like we were losing a little bit of gas, and just making sure that in transitions and moments like that we had our legs to be able to deal with some of those situations.
Hey, Greg, thanks so much for talking to us. On Diego's 400th appearance, he scored the goal that tied the game for you guys, and also he was all over the pitch after you guys went down to 10 men, somewhere in the defense, you know, getting linked up in offense as well. Can you talk to us about his impact right now, especially wearing the armband, what you're seeing out of his performances and his importance to the team right now? Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. You know, with Diego he's a player who, he understands how the pieces work, if that makes sense. Just tactically, he's aware. He understands everybody's role on the field. He understands the responsibilities of everybody. And he himself can step into different roles and pull off those things. You know, when Diego is the out-and-out winger, I think if we don't bring numbers around him and support around him, Diego's not really at a point and I believe in his career where he's beating guys one-on-one and he's running behind and he's that dynamic super player, but he is really cerebral and smart and can understand the game. So when he has Joe on the outside of him who provides him some running and some depth and he's more inside, I feel like he links some of the pieces together for us that, you know, maybe we haven't had as much of at times. And again, his understanding of what spaces need to be filled and who should be where and how things should work, both with and without the ball, is very good. And it kind of ties some pieces together for us, like I said. And being able to put him in different positions gives, as a coach, you always want to have somebody who you feel like you can move around the field, who's going to give you sort of that solid connector, and he'll communicate on the field. He'll move people around in different plays, things like that, and he'll make good reads over the course of the game. And so, again, you just have to appreciate just that he's tactically super aware, and that helps everybody else, you know. And he does have the ability, I think, at this point to hit passes and to find guys and to play some of those balls that more like an interior player or attacking midfielder probably suits him more than being a winger in some aspects in these days. Unless he has a fullback flying around him on the outside, which we haven't done a ton of on our left side. It's a better role for him right now, and I think it's something that our team has needs. But this is the first night that he's actually kind of had it all season, where he's had a winger on the outside of him who's, you know, been able to give some space creation and some running. And the other thing with Diego is he's the captain. Like, he's a guy who he connects with everybody in the locker room. Like, he is the guy that he can go sit in this pocket and have conversations with all the young guys. He can go here and speak with all the Spanish-speaking guys. He's just a great human being, and he has a way of, again, connecting people in the locker room in similar ways that he connects people on the field. And he has a way of being able to say things that you might think are offensive in a way that isn't offensive, right? They're direct, but they're like, wait, I think he just said something that I should take offense to. And then you're like, but you don't, because the way Diego says it is so clever and wise and caring in the right ways. So I think those are good qualities of a leader. And so, you know, for us right now, he's the captain, and he's stepping into that because he's that guy who can pull people together.
Can you talk to us briefly about Gabriel Peck? Earlier in the season, you saw teams kind of crashing on him, two or three different players. Is he getting the space now that you want to see him get, that Joseph Paintsil's back in the lineup? Thanks.
Well, I think it's a starting point, but when we go down a man, it's, you know, the opposition has the ability to put numbers, at least an extra number, where he wants. But so I think it's coming. You know, I think tonight at times he was able to be a little more direct in his play and face forward and run without the ball, run with the ball. So I think it's coming for him. I think, you know, the other things are with Diego now, or if Marco comes back, or different guys who can kind of play the role of playmaker. He doesn't maybe internally feel like he needs to sometimes be the playmaker, because we need him to be the play finisher and a guy who's working to get behind, to get in the box, to get to the end line, to beat his man, and not necessarily receiving the ball at his feet all the time, which is something I think he's been doing too much of. And part of that is because I think he's trying to help create plays. Instead, we want him on the end of some of these plays because he's a producer of goals and producer of assists and stuff. So we talked to him this week about trying to be more on the move and more active, moving without the ball and picking up the ball on the move, and a little less standing and waiting for the ball to come to his feet. And those things, I think they're going to come together because I think some of the pieces that will open the spaces for him are starting to fall into place a little bit more.
Any other questions? Thanks for your time, Greg.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.